Okay, let's explore the phrase editor a little bit. I'm going to go to bar 4, measure 4, and double click it. And when you double click in the composition window on a phrase, it brings that phrase, it opens up the phrase editor. Okay, and it brings the phrase you double clicked on into the phrase editor. Now if I delete this, so I've got nothing in the phrase editor right now, and I double click on this, you can see it's brought the phrase on bar 4 into the phrase editor. Okay, now if I delete the phrase on bar 4 and I'll put my play cursor at the beginning of bar 4, and I'm going to piano basic 01. I'll hit insert, and I double click on this phrase. It brings this phrase into bar 1. Now let's take a look at this phrase. We've got a C, a G, a C, a C, and an E. Now let's see if we change this, the master track, to a major, a C major 7th or 1 major 7th. See what happens to the phrase. Okay. It adds the 7th. You can see the B here. So we get C, G, C, B, which is the 7th, C, E. Okay? Alright, so we'll double click on that. And now we see the phrase, we see the number 4 note, which is in a 7th chord, C7 is the B. Okay? Now, what I want to focus on in particular in this video is this feature up here, which allows you to select the degree of the scale, 1 through 7, or bass note, or whether you want the degree to be flat or sharp. Okay, so we're in C major. We don't have to worry about flats and sharps. But sorry. So this 1 here, this Roman numeral 1, allows us to select which degree of the scale we want. So in C major, that'd be C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Okay? Roman numeral notation would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, clear enough. Then if we click on this button, this highlight here, we can select the not the scale degree, in other words, not whether it's going to be an E chord or a G chord. Here we select the type of chord. Okay? And with this drop down menu, you can see we basically it's got all the chords here. It's got all the chords, you name it. Alright? So these are the common ones up here, and then if you want to get a little more complicated, you can select other. And for instance, you got all the 7th chords here, the 9ths, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So we've brought a phrase in, and the phrase is constructed on a 7th chord because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 notes. Okay? So what happens when we just select the triad, what happens to the number 4? Well, we've looked at that before, and we've seen that if we select a major chord here, which only has 3 notes, 3 different type, in order, 1, 2, 3, C, E, G, doesn't have a B, that the software will take the number 4 and just move it to the next highest note, which in this case is C up an octave. Okay? All right. Now, again, if we go back to the major 7th, we can see that we have the D. In fact, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes. We go to the triad, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's because actually one of the notes they're doubled here. You can see it. So that's what's happening. It's still got 6 notes, but the 7th is brought up to the C. The B becomes a C because there's no 7th note in a C major triad. Okay, so let's go back to the C major 7th, and I'll bring this back down to B where it belongs. Okay, now what if we change this to a minor 7th? Okay. All right, so we've changed it to a minor 7th. Now the B natural becomes a B flat, and the E becomes an E flat. Okay. All right. Now here's one thing I want to clarify. This change we've made, will it affect the chord in the composition window? And I think it doesn't. Okay, and that's the key point here. So if I hit apply changes to composition, okay, we see that it doesn't change the phrase in the master track, because the phrase in the master track has the master track is designated on bar 4 as a 1 major 7th. So the B is a major 7th interval above the root, the C. Okay? So the key, the thing that got me scratching my head a little bit for quite a while with Rapid Composer was this kind of relationship between these options up here and the phrases in the master track. Somehow I thought that when you change things up here, it was going to change the phrase in the master track. But obviously it doesn't. It doesn't change it at all. Now, if we change this to a 1 minor 7th, okay, then we get the B flat and we get the E, we get the E flat, okay? But the phrase stays the same. And that's something you don't want to get confused about, okay? And that's the one of the strengths of this whole note mapping system, right? Okay, so in the composition window, the master track says 1 major 7th, so we see a B natural, but in the phrase editor, we see a B flat, because up here we've designated 1 minor 7th instead of the major 7th. Now if we go back to the major 7th, the B comes up to a B natural. Okay, so that leads me to, I think my biggest takeaway about these options up here, these two options, the scale option and the chord option. And I think my takeaway is that these options here don't change the phrase. What they do is they allow you to preview what the phrase is going to sound like, how the phrase is going to be mapped when you're using chord note relative. In other words, these are these options here help you to preview your phrase, but they don't actually change the phrase. And that is that's my takeaway. I hope I'm right about this. If I'm not, please put that in the comment. But I really wanted to stress that because that kind of confused me a long time. Again, what I'm saying is, in fact, I'll illustrate it one more time. Excuse me. Instead of 1 minor 7, let's change this to a major 7th. But let's make it on the 4th degree. Let's make it F major 7. Okay? All right? So F major 7th is FAC E flat, right? Or FAC E flat. And here, let's see what we've got. Okay, we've got the F, C, F, there's the 4th. Oh, FACE, I'm sorry, it's FACE. That shows you how much I know, right? Yeah, FACE. So the major 7th is going to be E, the minor 7th will be E flat. Okay, so that all checks out. There's the F, there's the E. Okay. So we've changed in the phrase editor, we have FACE. In the composition window, we have a major 7th. Let's change this. You'll see where I'm going with this in a minute. Let's change this to a 1 minor 7th. Okay? So we got 1 minor 7th. So we've got the 7th is flatted. Okay? All right. Go back to the phrase editor. So here we've got a major 7th. And I'm calling this the preview option in the phrase editor. But the composition window in the master track, we've got minor 7th. Okay? So, if we go back to the phrase editor, where we have a 4 major 7th, and in the composition window, we have a C minor 7th. Okay? If I hit apply changes to composition, if I'm right, and this is just a preview, the phrase in the composition window, the 1 minor 7th, isn't going to change at all. Because, again, these options just allow you to preview how the phrase is going to sound when the master track has this chord. Okay? All right, so we've got an F major 7th. I'm going to hit apply changes to phrase and composition. And I'm right. Beautiful. Notice that we applied the changes, but it didn't make any change because the only thing we really did was change this option up here, the C, which is the 1, to the F. But this is just a preview option, okay? And it doesn't change the phrase here. So we still have a C minor 7th chord, not an F major 7th chord, okay? And that's the big takeaway. I kid you not, I struggled with this, and I don't know why, now that it's clear to me, but I don't want you to do the same thing. So again, these guys just allow you to preview your phrases with different types of chords, but they don't change the phrase. They don't change the phrase. Not these. If you want to change the phrase, you move the notes here. That changes the phrase. But these guys up here don't change the phrase. Okay? All right. I know I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I really wanted to make sure everybody understood that. Because this phrase editor is vitally important to creating phrases, and that's a big part of Rapid Composer. Okay? I'll see you next time.